Hi, welcome to the Web Report. My name is Stuart Webb. Today I wanted to talk about Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who is the president of Ukraine. He's been in the news a lot lately because of his interactions with Trump and J.D. Vance. They're meeting at the White House. So the reason I wanted to talk about this and talk about this video is because it came up in my news feed, and it was from 6 years ago, and it said it's from the BBC. It said the comedian who could be president. Okay, so I watched it. It was just a few minutes. Very interesting, and we're gonna play this, and we'll kind of go through it. So this is in regards to Volodymyr Zelenskyy, however you pronounce it. And here's the video.
Здрасте.
Василий Петрович Голобородько?
Да.
Доброе утро, господин президент.
Okay, so it says, in Ukraine, the line between fact and fiction has become blurred. Okay, and we'll go through this. This is portraying Volodymyr Zelenskyy as an actor because that's what he was before he was president. So.
Привет, как дела? Серьезный день, ребята. Как настроение?
It says, let's go back. So it says, this is Ukrainian comedian Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He's a candidate in March's presidential election in Ukraine. He insists his campaign is no joke.
Це не фейк, і я дуже серйозно відношусь до нашої країни.
He says, this isn't fake. I'm very serious about running for president, essentially very serious about the country and the lives of our people.
До життя кожної людини.
So this is now, it changes to a shot of him in this TV show that he's a star of. So he's an actor, he's a comedian, but he's a well-known actor in Ukraine. And it says Zelenskyy stars in a hit TV show as a teacher who's elected president. Okay, so he's the president of Ukraine now, but 6 years ago he starred in a show where he is a teacher who's elected president. Okay. So it says, after a rant about Ukraine's corrupt political system goes viral, in office, the fictional president, or he's elected because of this rant as a teacher, essentially. This is the storyline of his TV show. So, and it says, in office, the fictional president is principled and disarmingly honest. Okay.
При решении этого вопроса будет учитываться специфика. Уважаемые журналисты, я прошу прощения, я не готов к этой пресс-конференции.
So essentially, he comes off as very genuine and authentic, right? According to this TV show, and essentially in real life, because I mean, he's an actor and he's a comedian, so he doesn't necessarily come off as a slick politician or a very polished, robotic politician. So Zelenskyy to win the election is presented like a reality show. Okay.
А совместить физкультуру, спорт, если хотите, изучение украинской мовы.
Much of it reinforces the idea that he's the same as the TV president, right? So the actor he plays, his character in the show who becomes president, appears very genuine and honest and authentic, and the reality show that's going on in real life that they're doing for his campaign, he comes off the same way, right? Okay, that's what they're reinforces that idea.
Первая причина, конечно же, они хотели бы видеть президента такого человека, как Василий Голобородько, с такими, самое главное, моральными ценностями. А второе, конечно же, это ответ всему политическому истеблишменту. Люди хотят что-то новое.
Okay, so he's doing these interviews and he's saying, you know, people are fed up with the establishment. They want someone who's moral and principled, someone like he mentioned some previous Ukrainian president maybe that was popular. But, excuse me. So he's coming off as anti-establishment. You know, he's going to change things and make things better for Ukraine, and to make real change, right? There is, so in the BBC, here's the narration. There is, however, one big difference between fact and fiction.
Кстати, мы же все понимаем, что это твой человек.
Нет, я был уверен, что Голобородько – это твой человек.
On TV, the president defies Ukrainians' rich, powerful oligarchs.
Ясно. Если не твой, не мой, значит, это человек Рустема Ашотовича.
Господа,
But in reality, Zelensky is accused of being a billionaire's puppet. Okay?
клянусь, я не имею к Голобородько никакого...
Много всего нового научиться.
Zelensky's shows, and this is his portraying him doing like a stand-up comic bit or something. So he's very well known in Ukraine. Zelensky's shows are on a channel owned by Igor Kolomoisky. And apparently he's a billionaire oligarch, essentially.
Посмотри, как дышит собака.
Я обещаю вам піти в
Mr. Kolomoisky's channel is giving the campaign extensive coverage, so he's being propped up. Zelensky is being propped up by these oligarchs, and they're promoting him heavily. Like he is essentially. It makes sense why he's going to win this race, right? And this was 6 years ago, again, before he was president.
президенти України. І одразу виконую. Я іду в президенти України. Давайте зробимо це разом. З Новим роком.
So this must be Mr. Kolomoisky. Says Mr. Kolomoisky is outside Ukraine. He is alleged to have defrauded. He's alleged to have defrauded Ukraine's largest bank of billions of dollars. He denies those claims.
Я никакая не игрушка в руках Коломойской. Не был бы игрушкой.
And this is Zelensky saying, I'm not his puppet. I wouldn't be any of these people's puppets.
Говоря, в руках ни одного из этих людей.
If you're a man of principles,
Yes.
why are you working for a man who the anti-corruption authorities say has stolen all this money from the people of this country?
Все каналы у нас принадлежат олигархам. Все крупные предприятия принадлежат этим группам. Получается, что мы все...
So Zelensky's saying basically, you know, all the TV channels are owned by big, huge oligarchs, and basically millions of people work for them. So it's just, you know, he's justifying, he's saying this is just kind of the way things are, you know, and which to a degree is understandable, I guess.
Люди в Украине, 40 миллионов людей без принципов. Мы все работаем на этих предприятиях.
It says, with 2 months to go, Ukraine's election is hard to predict. I don't think it's hard to predict. I think they've already decided. We'll talk about that.
Или теперь весь юмор будет про меня? Да?
Про вас.
Some of the most recent polls show Zelensky is in the lead. Well, of course. Who else is going to win this election, right? I mean, it's very clear that this guy is going to be the president, right? This, you know, they're setting him up for the presidency. So, and that basically concludes the video. So, let's talk about this a little bit. So, there's a few quotes I wanted to talk about, because when I saw this, I've seen this too many times in my life, where we are basically pre-programmed, and what pre-programming is essentially is to program something in advance, right? To predispose someone to certain thoughts or behaviors, right? So essentially, when we're fed an idea, and then that idea happens, it comes to fruition. Many times it's because it was predetermined, right? The people that are in control, they like to play God and predetermine things to their advantage and to their agenda. So they have to kind of let us, they have to kind of give us the idea and let us digest it first before they can maybe get away with their agenda happening and making us think that it was authentic and that it was genuine and that it was an original and that it happened organically. That's really the term. Do things happen organically, or are they predetermining these things, right? Especially these big things like presidents of nations, right? So this quote also came to mind, which I've heard many times: whenever people need a hero, we shall supply him. And that is a quote from Albert Pike. And it basically, and these are some of the arguments as to why the quote, where the quote came from, and why the quote's used. It says, example of usage: the quote is often used in a dramatic or even satirical way to suggest that people are willing to create a hero figure when they feel they need one. Well, that might be true sometimes, and I think sometimes organically that actually can happen organically when it's when there is someone who the people actually like and who's principled and uncontrolled, and they want them to lead them. But this quote, I don't believe, resonates with that. It resonates with, we're in control, and if the people need a hero, we'll supply them our hero. Not the one that they want, but we'll supply them with a hero that we control and we install. And that brings us to the Hegelian dialectic, which you may have heard about. It's basically a thesis, an antithesis, and synthesis. It's a problem, a reaction, and then a solution. And what the powers that be, they like to control the outcomes, right? So they'll present us with a problem, and then they'll already have the reaction laid out, and then to get the solution or the synthesis that they want. Okay? And this, a lot of people think, well, that's just too nefarious, or that's too outlandish. I mean, we just watched a video of the Ukrainian president who played an actor on TV who becomes president. Okay, just a normal guy who becomes president because he is a man of morals and principles. And then he actually is elected president of the country. And it's completely, and he's not morally principled. He's a total sellout. He is totally controlled, and he's totally corrupt. Okay? So they got their person that they wanted, but at the time, they were able to persuade the country of Ukraine to accept this guy as their guy, right? This, and it was already predetermined, in my opinion, or heavily predetermined, right? Not saying that can't be changed, right? But if we're not aware, if we're not vigilant as a people, as a society, then we're going to be duped into a lot of these things. And we've given billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, and who knows what those billions of dollars have been used for, and we really have no idea. And the country is, thousands and thousands of miles away, an entire ocean and 2 continents in between them and us, but yet we're sending millions of dollars to them. And we have there's no accountability. And it's very sad. But this is kind of how things are done, and that needs to change. And I hope it does change. And there's a lot of things that are going on right now that I think are good. Now let's hope that they're substantive, and like us pausing the aid to Ukraine. I hope that stays that way. I think a lot of the things that are happening can be positive, but we also need to be vigilant, and we can't just be complacent about these things. We have to be informed, and we can't just accept what we're being told. We have to do a little more research. But anyway, I thought this video kind of it came off very odd to me. And these are things that I've seen throughout my adult life that I thought were, and even in my, childhood, things that I thought maybe were a little weird and off. This is the kind of thing that I've seen throughout my life, and we need to be aware of this kind of stuff. It does go on. Pre-programming, Hegelian dialectic, the elites trying to control outcomes, and not for good. It's not for moral outcomes and good outcomes. I mean, I think that would be wrong either way if it happened inorganically. I think there'd be a lot of things wrong with that. It'd be like depriving us of free will, things like that. But they're not even moral outcomes, right? It's not even like the outcomes are good. The outcomes are all leading to worse things and immoral things. So a lot of problems with that. But anyway, that video was very interesting. 6 years ago, BBC put out that piece, and it pretty much lays out how they pre-program us. So anyway, that's all I got for today on that. Thanks for listening.